Yeah, the other thing John was talking about, we started it yesterday, Enshrouded,
Yes.
a sick new game that hit the streets. I'll be honest, John's played this way more than I have probably. I've got like 4 hours in it. But it's like basically it's Valheim, dude. It's just Valheim, but you can like dig underground.
Yeah, and you
John,
guys
you wanna
saw
get-
a trailer or something, and just
Yeah,
You guys
Kurt
like
showed
that
me a
kinda
trailer,
game.
and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll get it. Whatever."
you guys are pretty hyped.
And,
You guys sounded the rest of them sounded pretty hyped for this coming out.
I'm hyped to play any game with my friends.
It was like on our radar, and then it slipped under my radar, and then I re-radared it like yesterday.
Yeah.
And based on the fact that they seem to be having fun, I did pick it up and put a few
Oh, you
hours
did?
into it late
Oh,
last night.
sick.
Yeah.
Single player?
Dude.
No, in the multiplayer
Oh, in the server?
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it's Valheim.
there's I love the digging in the game. I think that is so cool.
You're digging it?
It's good.
I really dig it. Where we dug a deep cave, like really, really deep. And you could see like light from the sun was piercing through, and it was leaving like these sun rays that was going through. It looked so cool. We right now in our house, it's just the floor is just dug up, and we are just digging underneath the house. It's really cool.
The fuck? You guys
really
are a bunch
dig-
of
dig-
animals? You're just digging through your
Yeah, we're
floor
just-
in the middle
We
of
live in
Yeah,
an
we're
elaborate
like,
system
we're
of
like mole
caves and
people.
tunnels.
Yeah,
I have a
that's
cozy little
insane.
nook that I built last night in the corner of our like underground compound. It's like a bunker.
I love how excited everyone's been to just dig in this game. Well, we have a
It's
But
really
the other
cool.
thing,
We
the
have a
thing that
history
I'm-
with digging in games.
yes.
everybody
What I'm
wants
enjoying
to
about it
dig.
so far is that it's kind of like it's Valheim but streamlined. I would say more so.
I would agree with that, definitely. There's a lot
in
of things
that-
like there's just a lot of shit in there that they make easier, and I guess like automatically like do it for you.
I saw the
Yes.
Like,
building looks pretty easy. Kurt was showing me that
It is.
like you get a lot of resources. Like he was saying, like 2 wood gives you like 100 wood blocks or something like that. So you're not like grinding to cut down trees maybe as much as in other games to like make your wood cabin. And
I
then
would say not
That's
as
very
much.
much true. Wood and stone.
One thing
and
is
such.
like workbenches. If you just go up to it and you like click on it, it'll automatically repair all your stuff for you.
Oh,
That
that's
I think
nice.
is pretty good.
And then another thing I saw was that the buildings don't require support like Valheim. I think they did, right? You needed to like build your buildings logically. Like,
You needed like supports and whatnot, or the building would collapse.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which
John's
was
got like
seemed like
this
a cool
big
idea,
ass tower.
but
Well,
I do
yeah,
like that in
don't-
Valheim, but I
Yeah, I
also
would say,
like
I
the
don't think
building
it's a-
here.
It's funny, I was talking about it last night. I really like the building in both games, and they're very different from each other. I mean, Vito, that's one of the reasons I think Valheim's building, I still think it's probably the best, is that when you're
you like
building
the
something,
supports.
well, just when you're building something, you have to think about how it would actually like stand, like weight wise. I mean, it's fun sometimes to build little floating, super towers, but like a lot of times you just want like a nice village, and when you look inside, you want to see some rafters. And maybe as someone who likes building in those games primarily, that's that's what I like. I do
Yeah,
like that
I
about
agree
Valheim a
with
lot.
you, John, but I also semi disagree with you. Where it really it depends on the situation. I would say. with building.
I remember playing Valheim and thinking it was cool, but for some reason now I'm watching you guys play this game and I'm like, man, it sounds fun to just build something wild and not have
I know
to worry about that shit
when
at
we
all.
started the
More of the
game,
Minecraft feeling.
me and Alex were in
Yeah.
a mine, and we immediately started hitting the supports to see if we could collapse the cave on us.
I don't know, I agree. I think it's different. I think that Valheim's build, at least for me, Valheim's building almost forces creativity out of me because you have to think of ways
Hmm.
to actually get around, the weight structures or like how you're going to build.
That's a good point.
Where in games like, and obviously you just kind of get better as you build more, but like games like, not Enshrouded. I think the
Minecraft.
building in Enshrouded
Minecraft's
is
a good
really
example.
cool, and I think you can make cool stuff. But yeah, like Minecraft, you kind of just default like, oh, I'm gonna make a square building, and then I'm gonna build it up, and then it's like, because you don't need to do anything else. No, there's no reason.
Right.
that's partly on you, but no, I think Enshrouded does do a really good job of, when you're playing Valheim, you're making a wood building. You got one wood to work with until you get to the end game, and then you get like a dark wood. In Enshrouded, we were still in like the quote unquote Stone Age. We didn't progress, and we had, you could make walls out of like unrefined stone, refined stone, flint, bone, mushroom, wood, like hardened wood. Just tons of different styles to make things
Kurt
look nice.
found some glowing shit that made
Yeah,
disco
glowing
floor
shit.
out of it.
And yeah, it just the pieces you can put down. Anything from the building menu is a little intimidating when you first look at it, but it's actually pretty simple. You can go from having 1 by 1 little squares of the object you're putting down, and you can kind of build up what you're building, or have 2 by 2 and 4 by 4, and those are your building blocks. For being such early access and all the stuff that it has, yeah, I think it's pretty great.
That's dope.
I
really appreciate.
No,
Sorry.
go on.
I really appreciate, for aesthetic purposes, how the textures just automatically mesh whatever you happen to be putting down next to each other. It just like works,
Like if you
That's
put
a nice
wood and
touch.
stone next to each other, they're like,
Well, not necessarily
Yeah.
that. Well, I mean-
stone and stone, wood and wood, or I mean, they complement each other for sure, but like things just kind of work when you put them next to each other, whatever it may be.
Okay.
Well, I think what you're saying is like,
God.
in Valheim, let's say you're putting you're building a building, right? And it's like, each wall you put down is 2 by 2, and the whole building is only like 5 wide. So normally you'd have to put like half of one on like a square and then have it overlap with another one. And usually in games, like you can very clearly see they're overlapping, like the two textures are sticking out. In this game, they just perfectly mesh to look like one normal piece. It looks really nice. I don't think a lot of other games have done that. Or I can't really think of any other games that do that.
Very sick.
They don't. A lot of them are awful, and it looks really bad when you try to like put two different things together.
No, so yeah, it's very cool. Of the like exploring we've done, pretty sweet. I mean, we've tried we're trying to. It's hard, when you first get a survival game, everybody wants to run out and see all the cool stuff and do all the cool stuff. But there's always had the problem where 1 or 2 people isn't on, and then they get on and they're lost or they feel like they missed out. We're trying to keep everyone together. We haven't seen too much of the game.
It's admirable. It's a hard thing to do, especially with a lot of people.
Yeah. And obviously there's certain people that, go ahead, I don't care if you do this or this. But yeah, we're trying. So we haven't seen, too much of the game. We're not like in, end game or I think even middle game.
I feel like
a big skill tree and stuff to do, and really barely explored that.
Yeah,
and
Kurt
the fact
was
that you
telling
can
me about that.
recruit NPCs to your
well,
compound or your base.
Well, yeah, so it's kind of unique, in Valheim, the way to kind of advance through the mechanics is that you defeat a boss. The boss will drop an item, and that item will usually allow you to in some way harvest the next tier of stuff. But it seems like in Enshrouded, there's just these NPCs that are on the map, and you have to find them. And once you do, you can summon them to your base, and they basically act as that. Like the first one is a blacksmith. You just summon him to your base. He's like an NPC who stands there. You can talk to him, and he unlocks the ability to make a forge and a charcoal kiln. So it's like a cool twist on that.
It's got a bit of Terraria flavor, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because you can like place the people, wherever you want in your base too. So if you want to this is my blacksmith area, and deck it out all blacksmithy, throw them there, and that's your little area.
But so far, we've just been building up our home base for those NPCs to live in, of course.
Yeah.
They definitely won't have small, dark cells.
Right. Yeah, they'll be comfortable for sure.
Oh yeah, outdoors, plenty of sun and stuff.
Yeah. Definitely not like a pit, like a 1x1 pit.
No.
No.
All the digging we're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, just super cool.
That's cool. I will say I've been watching
game.
a couple of different of you guys play, and it looks neat. I'm glad you guys are having a good time. I feel like
Several of us.
What I've seen you guys doing so far is mainly just like harvesting stuff, walking around. Not a ton of combat. Maybe fighting some little spider guys.
Well,
Yeah,
like
we're
I
still
said,
in the very early
there
stages.
there is a ton of combat. Like, I mean, we were messing around a little bit earlier today, and we kind of went. So there's different areas in the map. They're called Enshrouded.
There's some sauce, Vito.
And when you're in the Enshrouded areas, it's kind of like the Blight or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what games you play. And you have 5 minutes, and if you're still in that 5 minutes, you die. That's usually where a lot of the enemies are, and like the little raid areas and dungeons and stuff. Like I said, we were avoiding that mostly just because.
So you got 5 minutes to be. Yeah, it sounds a little annoying.
It's
Well, I mean,
basically,
you have 5
remember
minutes,
The
but
Last
if
of
you-
Us where they had that like smoke air, those cloudy spore areas?
Spores.
It's like that, where you can only be there for a limited time.
But I
and
mean,
gotta
if
get
you
out.
just walk out of it for a second, the bar goes back. And then there's abilities to increase your time in there.
There's also like pockets, like we were finding like little sections that weren't affected, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm just saying, I think there's far more combat than you've probably seen.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think some people would be turned off by it being sort of a more streamlined, maybe easier Valheim. But for me, that's addicting. That's like if you inject a little of that Minecraft and Terraria vibes, that actually invites me to play even more because I'm just
One of
like
my,
chugging along.
One of my favorite things is that people can get downed and revived. You don't just die and explode and have to run back and grab your stuff.
That's cool. It sounds friendlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds cool for me. I mean, the only reason, I love gaming with my boys, but the only reason I'm not picking this up is just because, like Valheim, and any game like Valheim, like the experience I have, it's nobody's fault at all. It's just
Every time you go on, you feel like like you just got frozen in time.
Exactly,
It's like
yeah,
the world's
like,
advanced 1,000 years.
I personally don't have, as we talk about on this podcast, like I don't have a ton of gaming time. So like everyone else, fucking runs laps around me. So when I get on, you guys are like 5 bosses ahead, and it's not a good feeling. Again,
Totally
it's
understandable.
Yeah, it's just how it is, and that's fine. So I end up not playing this game or Grounded, games like that. But I like to watch you guys play though. It's cool.
And also this is early access, so that's always a thing that's like a post-it note stuck on the corner of the game. Is that remember,
so let's
this
just
is
talk,
early access.
Yeah, let's mention it real quick. So we were just making jokes yesterday because yesterday or 2 days ago, the day before the game came out, whenever that was, that they had not released the price of the game, and that was like a big thing. They had like because the game was supposed to be released like the next day, and there was no price listed, which maybe that's not the weirdest thing. Maybe that is normal sometimes. I don't know. I thought it was weird. And then on
Few games do that.
and then on like Reddit and the Enshrouded like Discord, Andy was on it, and he was reporting back that like there was like a text chat strictly for price talk that was like promoted by the Discord server and the moderators. Like, hey, if you have any questions if you want to talk about the price talk, like go to this channel. Just like a weird thing. It was almost like they were like hyping up like what the price may be. And then everyone was speculating. And then we were speculating that maybe the game was going to be like $39.99 or something like that. Or on the other extreme end, that it would be like free to play and maybe it was going to be a surprise. But we were more leaning towards that would be expensive. It ended up being $25, right? $26, something like that.
Yeah, like yeah, 25.
Yeah.
It's going to be $30 retail, and it's like 10% off right now.
Yeah, so that was totally uneventful. Just a weird thing that they didn't advertise the price before the game came out. I thought so.
Yeah, a little
Strange.
weird.
Yeah.